doing, like, the one-off headlining shows and then doing, like, the big arena tours with Bruno Mars? Like, what are your expectations for that?
Well, I mean, we hope, that there are going to be people that actually show up in the, in like the earlier kind of like slots and stuff. A lot of the places that we are playing, we already have our own fan base as well. Mm-hmm. So, we hope to have like a mixture of what, he's bringing to the table to introduce our music to new fans, and then also, fans that have actually purchased tickets to see us play and him. Mm-hmm. To be a really good time. But I mean, just as far as like show is concerned, we don't really change that much other than the fact that, like we're playing 45 minutes versus like an hour and a half for our own shows,
Oh, of course.
The energy is, we keep the energy the same level. We try to show people exactly what we would do in our own shows and, give people an opportunity to, but I'm actually just looking forward to, both, us and Bruno basically just being on the same, stage and bringing that energy, because he does the same thing when he performs live. It's just like a lot of energy with the crowd and, having a really good time on stage, and it's cool. I think it's going to be a really good kind of like lineup.
Awesome. So, I mean, you guys recently just released More Than Just a Dream, and how happy are you with the continued feedback? I mean, everything I've been reading has just been so positive. The album's fantastic.
Thank you. It's been really fun. I mean, it took a little while because we switched labels. We're now with Elektra Atlantic, mm-hmm. and like going through that whole kind of like process, it actually allowed us to actually have a few months off, because we've been going for nearly 3 years, mm-hmm. hardcore on the road. So it was a really cool opportunity to kind of like take a break, take a breather, listen to the record, finally after it was done, and just enjoy it for what the work that we put in. So it's been really cool so far, like loving the feedback, loving this new team that we have. It's been an incredible experience, going from an independent situation into a major and having everyone be so enthusiastic about what we're doing and being very, very supportive and getting this radio play, and the new fans that we that have caught on to the vibe of the record, since we really expanded on our sound, and our older fans being into it as well, and seeing how it's translating in the live setting as well has been really, really fun. Just looking for the next 2 years, of touring that we're going to be doing on this record. It's going to be really, really interesting, but I think a really fun process.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys are definitely true road warriors. I remember, I think the last time that I caught up with you was down in New Orleans at Voodoo Experience back in like 2010, and I caught you guys at Firefly last year, and it's just been such an incredible journey to, watch the evolution of your band, like up until this point. So how do you feel?
It's been really great.
Oh, absolutely. So, how do you feel about the evolution of the band till this point?
I mean, it's definitely something that we were looking to do when we started the process of creating the new record. Me and Fitz sat in his living room every single day working out songs, and, my goal was to really make sure that we were telling a story. Of course we're going to continue being the Fitz and the Tantrums that we started off being, but, we didn't want to get locked in a box. We didn't want to just go on the expectations of people that had just discovered us, that had only really been introduced to the earlier works of the, slightly Motown appeal that we had in the beginning stages of the project, but also to really expand upon those things that we didn't really get the opportunity to kind of showcase on the first record. From the kind of more 80s pop synth stuff that we were doing to really, have the band involved in the entire process of the creation of this record as well. We've grown as a band together on the road, and, creatively we all have our different ideas and different opinions, and, Fitz and I work really well in gelling all of that together, and then, having the opportunity of bringing in a new producer and working with Tony Hoffer and having this kind of like outside, looking in source that really, brought us all together and brought us out of our own box, creatively was a really, really cool experience. And, you know, I really love where the record went. You know, we really gelled together what we've done with our live performance and brought it into the recording, you know, made it really fun and singable, and, you know, people can just have a really good time just listening to the record from front to back, you know, and just really, really developing this song. So, you know, it is kind of like a dream come true doing this record and seeing how it is taking off, especially in different worlds, you know, like being played on alternative radio and, you know, still having like our awesome, you know, kind of, I guess, eclectic tastemaker kind of radio stations, you know, still playing songs on the record and stuff, and just really, really growing and developing. It's quite a journey right now. You know, it definitely is more than just a dream, for sure.
So, could you possibly take us in the studio and maybe on one song in particular and tell me what the mindset was like?
They're all different, you know. When we were writing, say, the song "The Walker," for instance, it was really funny because we were really trying to figure out what we wanted the song to be about. You know, it was like, what is it calling for? It's so catchy, it's so cool, and, you know, I really didn't want to lyrically go into the direction of just having it be like another love song or just having it be this, you know, like whatever quirky kind of little party song. And we, you know, Fitz and I ended up, you know, kind of discovering, oh, why don't we write about this, you know, one particular figure in our neighborhood called the Silver Lake Walker. And he was basically famous in our neighborhood of Silver Lake for basically just walking. He was obsessed with walking. He would do it 24 hours a day if he could have, you know. So every single day we would see him in different parts of our town just walking around, you know, in his like little green shorts and stuff like that. And, you know, I wanted to kind of take that concept of his story and maybe what he thought of his, you know, I don't know if it was like unwanted fame or, you know, unexpected fame that he had gotten just from him doing his everyday thing and just loving it. You know, it's just like really going to the beat of your own drum, and, you know, it doesn't matter what people think of you. You know, a lot of people thought he was crazy. Other people thought he was just, you know, it was just like a really cool guy that was obsessed with, you know, working out. You know, like we didn't know much about him, you know, except for this story that kind of developed throughout our community. So it was fun, you know, to kind of like write something like that in that aspect, and then, you know, having like a night situation where I came up with the idea for Out of My League, you know, after we had been, you know, in the studio working on another song for like hours and hours. I ended up coming home and listening to this one track that I had been working on, and all of a sudden the, you know, lyrics for Out of My League came out of nowhere, and I ended up demoing it for Fitz. You know, there's all these like different moments that, you know, that happened that inspired all of these different stories that came along.
Definitely. No, I was very happy to hear the story about Out of My League. That's actually my favorite track on the album.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's awesome. And, you know, your sound it's got such a unique and refreshing vibe to it. And, you know, sometimes I feel like, you know, so much of what we hear on the airwaves these days is so cookie cutter. And what I love so much about your band is that it is different, you know. And what is your creative process? Like, how important is it for you guys to keep that uniqueness, like, within your music?
Oh, I think, you know, definitely for us it is, you know, we've always been looking to find our own voices within, you know, the mesh of sound that's out there. There are so many different bands, you know, and we have, personally, all of us as individuals have so many different influences, you know, that kind of come out in our creative, you know, flare-ups that happen, you know, within the band. And, you know, every single guy and every person in this band is very well seasoned in what they do, you know, so it makes it a lot easier creatively to kind of, you know, experiment with different things and, you know, kind of, you know, bring it all together in a kind of cohesive way. You know, me and Fitz have been writing songs forever. I've been writing songs since I was 10 years old. You know, a lot of these guys have been playing with any and everybody for many years. So it's actually really helpful to even, you know, to just, one, have the experience to know that the song has to be important. You know, it has to be a really good song. It has to be able to stand up on its own without all of the additionals. You know, it can be broken down acoustically and still have the same effect as it does when we have our like 70s vintage synthesizer, or Farfisa or something like that. The extra saxophones, like all of that stuff, when it's broken down into one or two or three different elements, that it still stands on its own. And, for us, that is something that has always been really, really important. That was something that Fitz established when, he created the project, and, James came along. That was something that we really focused on, and that's going to continue to be something that's really important for us throughout our career. We're never going to just, write a song just because it, it sounds cool, but it never will stand the test of time. It's just not who we are as artists. So it's a fun, kind of like process, being able to know that this is always going to be the important formula for us. We're going to make the song as great as possible, and all of the extra stuff is just going to be the jelly on top. It becomes catchy for everybody. It can make you dance. Like all of these things, it's just like the extra pudding. But the song is very, very important.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, personally, I look at music as a universal language that we can all speak and understand, even if we take different messages away or, it invokes a different emotion. Is there anything in particular that you hope your music will say to listeners?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think more than anything, we want to let people know that music is about joy. There's a joyful experience that happens within the connection that you have with the music. There's so many, it's like, especially when you put out your sophomore record, there are so many people that want to critique it versus just listening to it in the beginning, that you forget why you're listening to it in the first place. You forget why you fell in love with the band in the first place. The minute you shut all of that off, the better experience you have in listening to any record. I've, even as an artist, I listen to something and I catch myself kind of critiquing it or kind of listening to it in this kind of like fine-tuned way, trying to figure out what they did, and then I miss the entire song. For us, music is a very joyful experience. It's the same thing that we bring on stage every, single night, is allowing people to kind of let loose and have a good time and have the freedom to just, sing along. You don't have to watch us. It's fun for us when we're looking at you in the crowd and you're moving. It's that 3 minutes of joy that we get in knowing that somebody turned up their car stereo, and vibing out to the song. Like that's for me, that's definitely, something that I really want. And then also within that, just, being able to tell a story that somebody can connect to, whether it is merry-go-round, which is part of our life, living on the road and, constantly being in and out of different cities on a regular basis. That particular story is about us and how we're living. Waking up not knowing what day it is, not realizing that you just lost an hour, after you left one city, and, you're waking up the next day and you're like, whoa, what's going on? It's all these different parts, to like break the walls, where we're calling for, this kind of like social outcry, of people just kind of like standing up for themselves and believing in themselves and tearing down barriers, and coming together as a community. That's what that song is about. There's all these different moments that happen, but, at the end of it, just having a really good time and a good experience with music and just listening to it,
Oh, absolutely. So I think, what's really cool is going through your website, I think the dream sequences, the videos that you guys have posted are really awesome. How'd the idea come about?
Oh, thank you. We just really wanted to do something fun for our fans, and also delivering something new and creative for new listeners, giving them the opportunity of listening to snippets of the record. We came up with a lot of different content. Like, if you go on our YouTube page, we also have these audio visualizers, which is basically something really fun to have up on your computer screen when you're listening to the song, just like a really cool backdrop. We just really wanted to do something creative and also be able to kind of introduce people to the different members of the band as well, and all of our weird dreams, and our ability to kind of laugh at one another, and with one another, and I think it came out really, really great.
Oh, it definitely did. It was so engaging, and I think that's so important now. We have the uprise of social media and the way that people are sharing and learning about music, that it's awesome to incorporate that. How has social media been a tool for you guys?
It's been a really important tool for us, I think, since the beginning. We knew that within this band, connecting with your fans was so important in that level of giving them a piece of your life every single day. Mm-hmm. And for us, the social media aspect has been a really big part of that, especially now with Instagram coming about.
Yeah.
You don't really even have to say anything anymore. You can just, you write like a little quote and you have a picture and someone sees what you looked at for that one moment in time, so they feel like they're a part of it. And I think that's really important for fans, to kind of feel that, because, of course, once you put anything out into the world, people kind of create this ownership and they want to be a part of your life and they want to support you. So for us, it's like me and Fitz, are on there pretty much all the time, responding to our fans, taking pictures. The guys are always taking pictures and posting up their vines and doing all these things, and it's been really a really phenomenal tool. And one, the promotion of the band, human beings, but also musically as well. It's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You go to YouTube, you can watch anything on the internet. It is so easy to get access to music in a way that it never was before. It's definitely a double-edged sword when you think of, about piracy and stuff like that. But as far as the connection and the reach that you get to a massive audience that is beyond just your neighborhood or even your country for that matter, it's a really, really important tool, especially in the industry and the way that the business has changed and the art form. It's really expanded the horizons, and it's been been a really great tool for us to use.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I mean, I know it can be a double-edged sword, like you said, sometimes, because I feel like a lot of the shroud of mystery that was around, rock and roll and music industry in general has been lifted, but at the same time, that accessibility is there, so it's awesome.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
So you have the upcoming tour with Bruno Mars, and then you have the headlining dates. Is there anything planned for the fall, or is that still up in the air right now?
We're definitely going to be going on our own headlining fall tour. The dates and stuff have not been set yet.
Okay.
But, there will be a big announcement at some point. It's going to be quite fun.
That's awesome. Well, we'll definitely be looking forward to it. I want to thank you so much for taking a few minutes out to speak with me. Hopefully we will see you in Philadelphia in a few days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.